Hello guys, this is your friend from ninjavibeZ and we are back with a new fanfic, which is What If Broken Naruto Got Harem with Tenten Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Nar was currently staring down a red-headed woman in front of himself and Shikamaru. Shikamaru looks at Nar and is about to speak when the redhead does so first. Hey, the underscore, with blonde hair. I want to talk with you, Pineapple. You can take your fan-wielding girlfriend and head off to stop my partner Kimaru. I'm sure by now that the emo is out of the barrel and on his way to the snake. They're heading north-northeast towards the land of rice paddies. The red-headed woman says as she continues to stare Naruto down with a rather heated glare. Hearing this, Shikamaru is shocked when Tamari herself walks out of the bushes and next to Shikamaru. They look at each other and just nod before once again staring at the red-headed woman before Shikamaru speaks. And what makes you think I'll believe that simply to leave my friend to die fighting you? Shikamaru states, looking at the blonde-haired boy in front of her, still her eyes never leaving him. Blondie here saw that's where they were headed, and he can confirm they went that way. The redhead speaks, getting Shikamaru to look as Nar gives a nod at him that it was indeed where Nar saw them headed when pointing to the direction he saw them bolt off to. See, he just confirmed it. I stopped simply because I was ordered to buy time. Doesn't matter how much time I buy, just that it's there. Now, please leave. I want to speak with underscore, alone. Only speak with him. I promise I won't hurt your precious idiot unless he pisses me off. The woman says once more before Shikamaru gives a thoughtful hum before sucking his tongue as pulls it back from his teeth, making a tisk sound. He looks over at Naruto and just sigh. Fine. Well, leave. If anything happens to my friend, I will kill you. Come on, Tamari. We can still stop them if we run now. They'll have to stop at the Valley of the End to change course to the land of rice paddies. Well, cut them off there. Be careful, Nar. I don't want to lose a friend on my first mission. It'll be too troublesome to explain it to the Hokage. Shikamaru says, getting Tamari to nod and leave with Shikamaru as she wishes Nar luck. Okay, so you got me alone, Red. Why did you want to speak with me? Nar asks, glad he has a chance to talk instead of fighting. Why is there a genjutsu seal on your dumbass neck? It's pretty complicated and I doubt your meager intellect could have made it yourself. Chiyuya asks and explains, watching as Naruto's eyes widen immensely. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a seal on my neck. You're crazy, Nar says, denying the seal's existence as he looks around nervous. Don't lie to me underscore, for brains. I'm an Uzumaki. Damn it. I know seals since it's literally in my blood. That seal on your neck is for the casting of a damn near impenetrable genjutsu, best I've ever seen in all my life. I'm a genjutsu mistress of the highest caliber in Orochimaru's go-damned army. And I'm literally his most powerful and knowledgeable of his elite guards. I can even guarantee that thing is powerful enough that even the Byakugan and Sharingan wouldn't be able to see through that genjutsu seal placed on you. Probably one of the Karamas here in Konohagakure. No doubt, the Uzumaki woman says, shocking Naruto, who immediately hides his neck with his hand and backing against a tree. How did you know? No one ever knew about it or saw it. How can you see the seal? Nar asks, freaking out about this woman in front of him who claims to have his last name. Again, you dumb tit. I'm an Uzumaki to you Yayusuzuki. The Uzumaki clan were notorious for our seals. It's in our blood to know about them. So much so we can see invisible seals merely because of the chakra used to power them. Now spill it, bean dip. Tuya says as Naruto once again just looks at her astonished. She has his last name and she knows seals like he does. It's something that his clan shares. His Gigi wasn't lying when saying that. I can't tell you. Please just don't push it. Okay. Please don't tell anyone about it. Please don't. Nar says, panicking as he looks for a way to escape, only to come face to face with Tuya, who pins him to a tree by the neck as she examines the seal. Her eyes observing it seriously as she raises her hand to release the seal. Oh, I'm going to find out about what this seal is hiding. I always get what I want, and what I want is for that seal to be deactivated. Now we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Either way, this seal will be released with or without you. Your consent isn't a factor. Chuya says as she glares at the blonde-haired, blue-eyed idiot in front of her. She notices his eyes well up with tears and how he tries to struggle out of her grip, but is immediately held in place by two ogres holding his arms. Juya places her fingers on the seal and releases it with a simple burst of her chakra. Nar screams in fear as his body is engulfed in a plume of smoke. When the smoke disperses, Yuya has to hold her hand over her mouth to stop herself from vomiting. The ogres drop Nar like a sack of hammers, and Nar immediately curls up, afraid and scared of what she'll do, as he begins crying, his eyes out, curled up and holding himself before Tuya lays Nar Uzuaki. His form changed from the short and blonde-haired blue-eyed boy to this. His body misshapen and broken. His legs show massive scarring and incorrectly set bones and stitch scars. His feet missing nearly every last toe, as his foot appears to have bones missing as well. His legs missing chunks of flesh as if they were violently ripped and torn from him like some wild animal had been eating him. His waist and calves looking much the same. His stomach shows the seal on his stomach keeping the Kyuubi at bay, also has holes torn inside it and jagged scars lining up his arms. His fingers broken and mismatched, obviously having been set and healed wrong to cause pain forever after healing. His arms are much the same, scarred with jaggedly torn and burned flesh. His left arm even has his flesh grown only around the bones, leaving the radius and ulna bones as the only thing with flesh around them, and a hole in the middle of his forearm. His ribs obviously broken and misshapen to the point even breathing had to have been bringing him such pain on a scale to kill any normal person. His right cheek gone and leaving his exposed and broken teeth to the air, as his right eye is also red in the sclera where it should only be white. His eyes a deep royal purple, as his hair is shaggy and red. A true Uzumaki in everything possible. Despite his grotesque appearance, Yuya growls as she sees Nar cowering on the floor crying like an infant. Please no, please don't hurt me, don't do it please. I'm not the demon. Just leave me alone please. Nar says, holding himself as he curls even deeper into himself. Obviously having flashed back to an earlier memory. Tuya feels her blood boil at this and immediately takes action. She walks over to Nar and gets down in front of him. Looking at him closely, Tuya notices that his bones look more like metal with the steel gray-like coloration. She only knows of one other who has this kind of color to his bones. She sighs and merely takes Nar into her arms, pulling him into a tender hug. The action shocks the boy, who immediately stops his ranting and raving about his memory and remembers where he is. Feeling the woman in front of him holding him, he just returns the hug, a little frightened. Upon feeling him return the hug, Yuya looks the boy in the eyes with sadness at what has been done to her fellow Uzuaki. She rubs his back and just begins talking. Can you tell me your name, kid? I want to know the clansman that Konohagakure has over like this. Yuya asks as she just wonders about what she can do to help her fellow clansman. My name is Naruto Uzuaki. I have always looked like this after one to many beatings. Nar says, looking down wondering what she was doing holding him. I see Naruto Uzumaki Janine rank shinobi by all accounts according to everyone in your village. Failed the Janine exam 3 times due to hatred, sabotage, miscommunication, etc., etc. Hailed as the worst shinobi to ever grace its ranks in the history of the Leaf Village to date. 12 years old, blonde hair, blue eyes, which I can now tell is a lie. Container for the Kalobi no Kitsun Yoko which attacked the Leaf 12 years ago. Tiyuya says rather placidly, knowing what caused these horrific mutilations. Naruto's shocked expression gets her to sigh. Did you really think Orochimaru wouldn't make sure to give me and the others dossier on any and all active _ we would possibly encounter on this mission of ours? Thankfully for you and your friends, only me and our leader of the Sound 5 of Odo actually read the things. I can sense that Jirobo, Sakin, and Yukin, and even Kitamaru have all been killed by your friends. Not bad. They were all jonin in Odo. I know all about you, Naruto Uzumaki. I thought that your name was simply a way to piss me and the other Uzumaki out there off, but I see that is not the case. Tuya says as she just sigh, making sure to keep a stronghold on the boy in her arms. Why you know about the fox and you don't care? Nar asks, astonished at this simple act, wondering why she doesn't hate him. Of course I know about it. Why would I care that you have a giant rabbit, a red fox in your gut? Not like it matters since you aren't that damn furball anyway. You just house it like you're a damn box holding a stack of those shitty Ika books that Kakashi Hideki reads. The bingo book says he doesn't head anywhere without at least 10 of those books on his person. Personally, I think he reads those to make up for the fact he's never gotten laid in his life with a woman who doesn't charge. He's worse than that perverted Jiraiya. Tuya says, a little angry before feeling arms wrap around her neck as her chest becomes damp. Nar had latched onto the girl in front of him, holding tightly to her and sobbing into her chest. Taken back by the action, Tuya merely continues to hold Nar and rub his head and back, shushing him with pleasant calls and gentle words until his crying is done. The ordeal lasts for a good and solid 45 minutes before Nar passes out with his face in her chest. Tuya sets Nar down on the grass and looks at the seal once more, analyzing the thing and jotting down everything about it. She sighs when finally completed, and hearing someone approaching, she quickly activates the seal on reflex, seeing Naruto's body return to the genjutsu form, which to him is normal. Turning around, Tuya sees Kimaru walking up to her from behind. Hey boss, I thought you might be one of those worthless Kona ninja. Tuya says, ignoring everything else as she just lifts Naruto up into her arms, pissed off at how heavy the kid is. Kimaru, seeing this, is confused as besides himself Tuya is the strongest out of all the elite jonin in Odogawa. Seeing her struggle with this 90 pounds looking weakling is strange to him. Why are you even bothering with that garbage heap? Leave it to rot in the dirt where it belongs. Kimaru says until Tuya gets a tick mark on her head and growls at the bone user. Shut up, you chrome-boned ass hat. This is a Uzumaki in my arms and he's worth more to me than even your life. Now shut up and help me carry him to Konoha. It's time to enact our mission. Tuya says, angry at the bone user whose eyes widen at that revelation. Kimaru just grabs the boy and lifts him onto his back to carry him. Noticing the weight the boy has, he just looks to an upset Tuya. Why is he so heavy? Does he have gravity seals? Weights. Chakra-laced clothing armor? Kimaru asks, wondering how this thing on his back weighs nearly 250 pounds. His bones are like yours, a slogger. That steel gray coloration. I think this Uzumaki has the Shikatsu Miku. It would explain why he's still alive with the injuries he has. You know the mission, Kimaru. We're to gather any and all information we can for Orochimaru, but our clan comes first. You know this, Tuya says as both she and Kimaru head towards Konohagaka, knowing that Sasuke wouldn't make it past the Valley of the End on his own. Kabuto was probably waiting in the wings for him. So he was long gone by now. Tuya and Kimaru are still walking on the forest floor heading towards the battles the other Odo nin had been in and mostly going to be seeing that they were almost likely dead as Tuya had predicted. Shikamaru and Tamari show up soon after they get only about halfway to the scene of Ka and Akamaru standing victorious over Sakin and Yukon with Rock Lee and Gar showing up shortly after those two had arrived when being forced to flee thanks to Kabuto. Soon Lee and Gar both soon notice the two sound shinobi heading towards Konoha with Naruto on the pale kid's back who is currently not wearing anything besides his Orochimaru lookalike uniform with the top half of it wrapped around his waist. Why do you have my friend on your back, pale one? Answer me now or I will kill you. Gar says first without hesitation before Tuya looks at the redhead and scoffs. As if you could kill Kimaru. Here we have Nar because he convinced us to head to Konoha. Sure has a way with words. Tiyuya says looking at the now blonde-haired Uzumaki with a smile that everyone is able to see is sincere. Rock Lee seeing this smile of someone once an enemy now friend merely cries manly tears of fire and manliness calling out about the youth Naruto's words were sure to have. So, just like that, you decide to drop whatever loyalties you have simply because Naruto told you some things while you two talked. Shikamaru says and asks in a very skeptical way. He's a Uzumaki pineapple. We Uzumaki never turn our backs on one of our own. He told me that Konoha would be a nice place to live since we're family and I just found a lost member of my clan. Suspicious or not, I'm not going to leave my only living clan member to live alone. Kimaru and I both are Uzumaki. Kimaru is Kaya from Kiri, but they were the branch family of our clan. Now, if you would shut up and help us, we could get your dumbass friends to the dumbasser in Konoha quicker so they might live. Now, stop asking questions and get your dumbass ass and asses into gear and pick up one of your dumbass near-dead friends. We have to get to your home, morons. Tuya says as Kimaru just lets her do the talking. After all, she was putting this trash where it belonged in its place beneath the Uzumaki and Kaya. She's right. We have to help the others fast. They might not be as bad as Pale Eyes here, but they're in bad shape. Conqueror says coming out of the bush holding a badly injured and bleeding Neji Hyuga. Damn it. Okay. Gar think you can carry Akamaru and Ka on a bed of your sand when we get to them. We have to hurry to Choji. Tamari says as Gar nods, promising to help by getting the dog and his master on some sand to carry them to Konoha. Along the way to the gates, Shikamaru decides that he's going to be the one who picks up Choji and the large group of shinobi will then race towards Konoha's front gates. As the nin all head towards the areas they fought, Shikamaru keeps a rather hard and calculative gaze on Yuya and her companion who are currently carrying Nar to Yuya every now and again reaching over and rubbing Naruto's cheek softly to calm his upset and obviously disturbed face to Yuya not caring who saw just smiles rather happily at Naruto's unconscious form before calling out to the one watching her keep your eyes on the road ahead pineapple head. I'm making sure my clansman is having a restful sleep. Tiyuya says as they pass where Sakin and Ukon are currently lying dead as Ka is breathing hard and chuckling at the scene knowing he kicked their asses. Haha, see that, I did that to them. Me and Akamaru showed that stupid Dabi his place by beating someone even stronger than Sasaki. Ka says arrogantly as Tuya stops moving. Who are you talking about being a stupid Dobi chode smoker? Tiyuya asks a bit angry wondering if he's really stupid enough to do this. Ka noticing the voice looks up and sees the hot red head and some new guy. But what catches his eye is the mop of blonde hair on the pale guy's back and he simply smirks. That idiot on the pale freak's back. That loser should have died on this mission with how weak he is. Luckily, he only had to talk to one sexy redhead. Speaking of which, wanna go out sometime hot stuff. Ka asks as Akamaru wisely leapt off Ka and onto Tamar's head using her ponytails to hold himself up. Kimaru looked at Tuya and immediately grabbed her arm that had in a flash of speed none of the Janine around them could track had grabbed hold of her flute. Tuya calmed down. If we attack the garbage pile there, we'll make things harder for ourselves. Besides, it's obvious he would hit on you. You're an Uzumaki. We're better than everyone else in the entirety of the elemental nations. Just do as you would say and ignore this stupid cum-spewing _. It'll be better not to kill him till we have just cause while inside the village itself. Better deniability that way by saying a training accident has occurred leading to his unfortunate but much needed demise. Kimaru says as Yuyu looks at him a little surprised he cursed. Kimaru never stopped her before, but she was easy to anger like any Uzumaki. Kimaru is right and she needs to curb it for now. She looks to the dog boy and shakes her head before continuing to walk before answering. I'm going to do what my cousin Kimaru said and ignore your stupid comment. As for the date offer, shove it up your like you did with your brain. I don't date idiots who their own dogs unless it's a woman doing the of her ninkin your clan are known for. I bet your little pet is a better lay than you'll ever be. Tiyuya says ignoring his sputtered reply as Tamari and Conqueror lose their collective _ and laugh. Neji while bleeding is still conscious and would have killed Ka if he was able to move. So he also settled for laughing at the jab. They soon come upon Choji who's being picked up by Kakashi. Kakashi seeing the retrieval team together and only a few of them being harmed is happy until he realizes that the redhead in front of him and the silver-haired boy next to her is carrying something. He sigh knowing that Sasaki must be safe if these random nin jumped in to save him. The redhead is rather gorgeous too. Perhaps he can charm her for a one-night stand. Ah, good. You're all still alive relatively. Where's Sasaki? Kakashi asks as Shikamaru speaks up. He got away at the Valley of the End. Kakashi-sensei. Kabuto Yukushi showed up and provided backup and nearly killed Mi and Sabuku. No Tamari as he ran where Kabuto instructed. Shikamaru says making Kakashi widen his visible eye before smiling some. Oh, so I guess Naruto died somewhere up ahead. Then Kakashi asks, wondering if this is true. No, he's being carried by the silver-haired guy named Kimaru according to himself and the red-headed woman beside him. Shikamaru answers Kakashi's question. Really? Too bad. Kakashi says rather low but still loud enough for the entire retrieval team to hear. Most of whom are wide-eyed at this proclamation. Shikamaru, Neji, Tuya, and Kimaru are merely eyeing Kakashi strangely before Ka laughs. See, even the dude's teacher agrees he should have died. Ka said once again, getting Kakashi to eye smile at this before looking at the two nin in front of him. So, who's the foxy lady and the stoic silver-haired one beside her? They come to help you along the way, Kakashi asks before pulling out his Ika Ika Paradise book. I'm Tuya Uzumaki and this is Kimaru Kaya, you chrome-headed suck. Wish death upon my clansmen again and joining the leaf. Be damned. I'll kill you where you stand. Tuya says making Kakashi eye her a little bit putting away his porn realizing he may have just burned a bridge. You wish to join the village. Kakashi asks hopeful that she will. He has a chance at an Uzumaki woman and he isn't going to let a simple death threat stop him. After all, that's how his sensei and his wife Kusha started a relationship. Yeah, we are. My clansman said to join Konoha with him because clansmen didn't need to fight. That we were family and we can keep each other safe. That family doesn't give up on family nor turn its back on family. He said that because we might be the last of our clan when I told him about it that we can help each other get stronger and grow our numbers again. Tiyuya says, looking at Naruto happily as her gentle stroking of his cheek turns his depressed and obviously upset visage into one of content and safety. I see. Well, let's get the wounded to the hospital. Me and you can report to the Hokage and maybe get a drink at the bar later. Kakashi says, looking at the redhead. Yuya smirks at the chrome-haired nin and just responds, sure, and while we're there, I'll blow you in the bathrooms. Or better yet, I'll take the nearest bar stool and shove it up your right next to that log you call a hate boner. Not in a million years, pervert. Tuya says, walking away from this underscore, with Kimaru simply following suit as their lead into the village proper, where they drop off those in need of intensive care or face death. Yuya and Kimaru ignore Ka and Kakashi more and more as they continue to talk and hit on her. Merely sitting in the waiting room holding on to Naruto as he was placed into a seat next to her with his head on her lap facing towards her abdomen. Her hand gently caressing his head as her fingers streak through his currently blonde locks. She stays there ignoring the Cyclops in front of her who is still hitting on her much to his wounded pride. So why are you ignoring me and just petting him? Kaui asks, tilting his head to the side. Tuya remained as silent as Kimaru as she was done answering or talking to this idiot. You can tell me. I mean, it's not like you love this moronic demon. Anyway, Kakashi says, having let the word slip as he tenses up a little bit, hoping she didn't hear it. Yuya did and just didn't comment on it. She merely ignored his stupidity and continues to rub Nar gently to keep his nightmare-ridden mind calm. His sweating body, twitching eyes, and increased heart rate attest to her insight. She merely continues to comfort her clansman, wondering just what kind of treatment he could have gotten in this hole. His injuries from before were proof enough he needed her here to keep him safe and train him. But just hearing his own sensei say such things made her wonder how he was viewed. Kakashi, finally having enough, just decides he should try later. After all, it won't take long for her to find out about Nar and how he's a demon. She's to absorb thinking she found a clan member of hers and is just stuck on the honeymoon phase of ignoring everything but the person in front of her. It'll take a while, but it won't be too long before then. Kakashi just leaves the area as Sununade comes out of the ER after having saved both Neji and Choji from dying. She sighs and shakes her head, happy no one on the mission had died. Seeing the red head in the waiting room, she wondered why she was still there, only to see she was petting a tuft of blonde hair. Smiles at the act and walks over to her, getting to Yuya's attention since the woman was obviously a skilled doctor. Yuya, however, never once looked up from Naruto's sleeping form. Hi there, young lady. I hope you don't mind, but I have to check up on that blonde idiot there just to see if he's injured. He always seems to have to come to me lately. Not that I mind, of course, says with a bite to her voice that shows nothing but humor and caring for the blonde. She smiles at the idiot comment and chuckles. He is an idiot. All right. But he's a pretty good one. Talk me and my boss Kimaru out of working for Orochimaru and to come to Konoha. Tuya says, shocking the blonde-haired woman at the accomplishment. You work for that snake? Sununade asks, a little skeptical and worried for her blonde-haired Gaki. She feels her heart nearly stop, realizing that she had his head in prime position to snap it like a twig and kill him instantly. Yes, I did work for him until Naruto here convinced me to come to Konohagakure. Besides, why wouldn't I want to be with my fellow clansmen? Tuya says with conviction as she wonders about how to fix Nar. A million different ways popping into her head. Sununade sigh in relief at the proclamation and just places a hand over her calming heart. She smiles and just places her hand on Naruto and casts a jutsu as her hands glow green. Sununade's face once again scrunches up in confusion as she yells, Kai. And once more does the jutsu as her hands glow green. She sighs as she gets the same results, confusing Tuya as to why this person would do that. What did you try to release something for? Tuya asks, a bit confused as to why. It's just my jutsu never lies to me and it's telling me of so much extensive damage to Nar. But his outward appearance once again is the perfect example of health. No scars, no injuries, nothing. I thought he was under a genjutsu, but nothing happens whenever I try and release it. It's baffling me, says a bit confused as she rubs her temples at the oncoming headache. So, you don't know? Tuya asks, confused. If this woman loved Nar enough to care for him this much to personally treat him anytime he was banged up, then why not tell her about his true looks? Don't know what does Orochimaru know something about him that I don't? Tsunade asks, a bit confused and worried the snake might have found something and exploited it this mission before his talk with the woman and her companion got through to them. No, he doesn't know underscore, guy may be a genius, but he can make some pretty underscore decisions. Like sending an Uzumaki to kill a team composed of genin with another Uzumaki in its ranks. Like I'd ever kill a clan member. Not to mention his idiocy about not realizing I altered mine and Kimaru's curse seals to not have the corrupting nature it's supposed to because of the enzyme. Tuya says as Sununade's eyebrow quirks upwards. We probably shouldn't be talking here in the hospital. Let's go to my office and get this squared away. Can you wake the blonde up? Asks a bit confused and smiles happily as Tuya wakes up the blonde by gently smacking his cheeks a bit. Hey blondie underscore, wake thee up. Some old hag wants to you, Toya says, getting the blonde woman to blush some and sputter. Old hag, why does Ba-chan want to me? Nar says groggy as he sits up in the seat writing himself with a smile. His hands wiping away the sleep from his eyes. Hi Ba-chan. I'm so happy you're here. Nar says with his one true smile before hugging her tightly. Stupid brat. I told you not to call me that. How are you feeling, Nar? Asks as Naruto's face pushes into her belly. She just smiles and rubs her hand on his head. I'm good, Sunsune-chan. I found a clan member, you see. Nar says with a smile, looking at Tuya. Wait, Sununade Senju, one of the Sonin, Tuya asks, finally looking up from Naruto's back only to come face to face with a twin pigtail blonde woman with knockers the size of her damn head. Suyu Orsanade. Well, I feel stupid talking to the Hokage like that. Tuya says as she looks at Sununade with an embarrassed expression. It's fine, but what do you mean by so you don't know? I want to know, but come with me first. Says with a strange expression before leaving the hospital, walking with Naruto standing next to her. Tuya follows suit after waking up Kimaru and racing to catch up. Once inside the office, Sununade made all her ambu leave and activated her seals to enable silence and stop people from coming in. Now, what did you mean by you didn't know? Sununade asks again, getting Nar to tense up before Tuya looks at him and smiles. Nar, it's okay. You trust this woman, don't you? Tuya says as Nar nods to her, but he just sighs and begins. I do. I trust her with my life. It's just I didn't want to bother her with anything that's not important. Nar says looking down, and you think that you looking the way you did isn't important? Tuya asks a bit sternly. Well, no, I mean, I'm not important enough to really get the attention of anyone. I'm just a Nar says only to have someone grab his head and lift his head up. He sees that both Tuya and Tsunade are looking at him sternly. Nar, that is the stupidest thing you have ever said despite me not knowing you long. Both Sununade and Tuya say at the same time before Tsunade continues. Nar, you're very important. At least to me, that is. I'll do anything to help you. Do you need money? I'll give you some directly from the village. Do you want a house? I'll force the council to build you one with a smile or have them executed. Do you want to have hell? Just ask and I'll drop my pants if I can't find someone else willing to do it. I'll do anything for you now. Who told you that you weren't important? Says shocking Naruto at the conviction behind's words. He looks down and sigh. Everyone does. Everyone in the village does Ba-chan, Kakashi, Sensei, Sasaki, and Sakura more so than anyone else, but the rest of the village does it, too. I can literally count the number of people who've been good to me at least once on one hand. And I only mean being good to me without being ordered to do it and had actually wanted to. Nar says as Sununade sigh, wondering why she even bothered coming back to this cesspool instead of going rogue with Nar and Shizum. Nar, you don't listen to them. Okay, I'm not going to mark you as unimportant ever you hear me now. Please, what is to you talking about? Sununade begs as Naruto sighs and nods before continuing. Okay, well, I originally heard you were a great medic and that you could heal almost anything. I got excited because it meant that I could possibly talk to you about it. The old man tried sending you messages and missives about it, but he said the messages never got to you. So, I forgot about it till that perverted hermit bastard decided it would be good to take me along with him to find you when the old man decided to retire. It must have slipped his mind to tell you about it. It slipped mine too, Nar says, shocking and making her feel horrible about ignoring her sensei's letters for so long. Well, he tried the missives and letters when I was younger, but never got a response, and I forgot about it. So, years later, the Chunin finals began. An old man announced he was going to get a replacement Hokage, and he said it would be you. He wanted me to go but couldn't sanction the mission till after the exams died down. Then the Sand and the Cage guy started that invasion because of Konoha taking all the Sand's missions because the Wind Daimyo doesn't trust them or something. Gigi said that was the main reason the Sand invaded. His was injured pretty badly and barely survived cause he was outnumbered. So I wanted to get you here to heal him more than anything and I forgot about myself. Nar recalls before sighing. Then Kakashi gives those two Akatsuki guys or whatever my location like an idiot and gets his dumbass put in that coma. They come attack me with that pervert leaving me alone in a hotel while he stole my money to go pay for hookers and booze. As Naruto says, this Sununade is rather pissed off at that little bit of knowledge and files it away for later. I was injured badly fighting them often. He just let the KOB heal me because, and I quote him, he has better things to do than waste time on a brat who needs to learn a lesson. Sasuke, that underscore, showed up before the pervert and tried attacking the Akatsuki guys cause one of them was his brother or something and gets his own dumbass put into a coma. We met you and you pissed me off because of how you mocked the Hokage and Gigi Herzen. I once again forgot about it and made that bet with you. So I forgot to bring it up again. After saving you from Kabuto, I saw Orochimaru look pretty pissed at Kabuto for that. But again, I passed out and you healed that problem only. Nar says thinking more on it is Sununade to Yuya and Kimaru are both pissed at the other son for the way he has been treating Nar. Then when we got home, you had to help the emo duck and his kisser out of their comas and heal the old man. Once again, I was so happy Gigi was okay and alive. I forgot about it all and spent all my time with Gigi while he recovered in the hospital. Nar says as he smiles happily remembering how Hiruzen always lit up when he was with Nar. Then when the time came and you were inaugurated as Hokage, that perverted hermit said that since I don't respect him enough by calling him Shisho or Sensei or use my perfect transformation so he can sleep with it that I didn't deserve to be his apprentice. He absolved my summon contract with the Toads due to being the current holder and the Toads while disagreeing with him have to obey the summoner due to the rules they have and regretfully absolved the summon contract I had with them. Though Bunta still sends me sake and Keiki even sends me candy. It may have bugs like scorpions and stuff in the flavored suckers and crickets in chocolate balls, but they're surprisingly really good. Nar says, thinking on the rather odd but delicious candy he has gotten from Kichichi. The other occupants of the room seemed to think rather deeply on this. Obviously upset about this information. Well, because of that, I was upset at the time and was more worried about what I was going to do about getting stronger or getting training more than getting healed. That's when you sent me on that mission with Team 7 to help Koyuki Kazuhana. That whole thing was an affair and a half. And again, in the hospital, they fixed what was wrong sort of. But after we all got home in the morning, I heard you were busy with Lee's physical therapy and let it go for one more day. Then this _ with the temp leaving the village happened. I just had no time. And besides that entire time I was thinking on it. I was worried you'd just deny me anyway. Nar finishes explaining. This tale sinks in as both to Yuya and Tsunade sigh, seeing that he's had a very rough time just even finding time to even come visits. She nods and looks at Naruto pinching his cheek. Come on brat, show me what's wrong. Maybe I can actually help you by healing what's wrong. Please, Nar, you can trust me, Tsunade says as sincerely as possible while reminding herself that she needs to murder that pervert for what he is doing to her precious Nar. That old man is dead as mud when I get through punching his teeth into his colon. It'll sure as hell make it harder to take a win every time they get bit when being inside his loose anus. Tuya said, promising to truthfully kill that pervert if she could. Nar nods some and smiles at them both as Kimaru merely plots his own way to kill the trash that treated his family like this. Nar sighs and quickly undoes the seal, showing Kimaru and Tsunade what Tuya already knew. Both of them had to hold the urge to vomit as Tuya merely held his hand, rubbing the back of his hand with her thumb to show it'll be okay. Oh my god. Naruto says as her mind runs a million miles a minute trying to assess the damage and how to fix it. She looks him over and without hesitation rips his cloths off of him, stripping him to see him in all his injured glory. Worry written all over her face at the scars, the words carved into flesh and the damage that has been done. She just stops what she's doing and just looks into Naruto's eyes. She just tears up and is about to cry when she places her hands on Naruto's shoulders. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. I'll fix you. Me and Shizune both will do our best to help you. I'm so sorry I wasn't here to help fix this. I'm so sorry, she says sobbing slightly as Nar just rubs her back. It's okay, Ba-chan. I know it isn't your fault. Do you think you could help me? Nar asks with hope in his eyes. Nar, I don't know if I can fix you entirely, but I'll try my damnedest. Okay. Promises her favorite shinobi, who nods to her. Okay, Ba-chan, I believe you. To Yuya, you look upset. What's wrong? Nar says as he catches a glimpse of Taya's calculative gaze. I might have an idea. It's risky, but it might just work. It'll take time. A lot of time, about 2 months to get just perfect, but it shouldn't be a problem since you're pure blood Utsuaki just like me. If Tsunade doesn't mind listening to it without interrupting me, I think she'll like it, Toya says as she looks at her, getting Sade to nod with a smile at this, just pays attention to Tuya as best she can. Okay, as you know Naruto, I was one of Orochimaru's personal guards. We are literally the most powerful ninja in the village, only beaten by Orochimaru himself. Since he never trusted anyone but his medic, Kabuto, Kimaru, and Mi, we always went everywhere with him. He couldn't trust anyone else because they were both weak and most likely had other allegiances. As such, I'm privy to documentation he had me carry with myself, so he never repeated failed experiments twice. I have them sealed on my person now. Actually, one of them was of an idea to clone a body of himself to keep himself immortal. Always make it young so it would grow in time, and always swap out when that body either grew old or too damaged to be salvaged. Tuya says as she looks, the horrified faces of the Hokage and her clansmen, but the Hashiyama cells he had wouldn't last long enough to be of any real or true use because they eventually would degrade to the point he couldn't use it after only 3 clonings. However, Uzumaki genes were even more perfect and always held up without degradation due to the regenerative properties. He began working on trying to clone himself from Uzumaki genes. He succeeded to a point. The clones, however, were deemed failures because he couldn't figure out how to keep the clones he made, as they would always destroy the skeletal structure that was normal bone the instant the clone came out of the cloning tank. So, he put the idea on the back burner and just never continued research into it, because his plan for the Uchiha, which he marked during the Chunin exams in secret using the invasion the Sand did as cover, had been one of his more ongoing current plans, and it took up more and more time to plan, and it eventually just slipped his mind entirely. Tiyuya says, looking at them both as she unseals a box of medical notes and records of a project called Operation Phoenix on its face written in marker. The reason that happened is because while he cloned the bodies, he mixed it with his own genes, and that caused his cloned skeletons to not be as durable as Arumaki skeletons. The body the clones had immediately felt the bones were intruders, and our immune system forced the clones' body's muscles to contract as hard as they could, causing them to crush the invading enemy. And it always killed the clones. Since Nar is 100% Uzumaki like me, all we need to do is have you clone a full body, bones in all for Nar. In the time it takes you to cultivate one clone, which will be 100% exactly like his real body should be, I'll begin teaching Nar the jutsu Orochimaru uses to transfer into the bodies of those he wants to take over. Kabuto Kimaru and myself were forced to learn the jutsu so that in any kind of rare case where the snake himself could not perform it, he would be able to have us perform the jutsu for him, and he can piggyback off it as if he himself cast it. Nar uses the jutsu to implant both himself and his tenant into the new body, as the Kyobi will go with him. Orochimaru did extensive testing on Utakata, the 6-tailed gentry, before letting him go. Nar gets a body that's perfectly healthy. He spends a few weeks recovering after the jutsu is used, and then he never has to deal with those reminders ever again. Tiyuya says, looking at with conviction as Sunyunade's eyes begin darting around in different places as her mind puts all the pieces together. She finds a flaw in just size. It's a good idea, but we can't do that because we have no tank or whatever Orochimaru uses to cultivate these clones. How do we get around it? Do you know how to build them? Tsunade asks, getting to Yuya to shake her head. Sadly, no. Orochimaru kept that secret to himself. While me and Kimaru know a lot. We don't know everything, but I had thought of that also. Instead of making a whole clone body parts separately and use the Kyutsu Taki gave Konoha when Kuzu attacked your grandfather Hashiyama. Seeing the confusion on Sad's face, to Yuya just sighs and continues, you know the Jungu they gave it to Konohagakure no Sato as compensation for their failed attempt to send Kakuzu into attacking your grandfather Hashiyama. The Jungu threads are better than even the strongest metals today, and they can be used to hold the clone parts together. The chakra in the clone's body parts will be enough to activate the Kyutsu to keep the body held together as a self-preservation move. They will also keep the body parts alive. It's at that point when Nar will take the body over and fully activate it by having his entire chakra stores in all and his soul transfer into the pieced-together body. That process, however, takes a full 2 months. Cloning body parts is a lot harder than cloning full bodies because it requires specific tissues and cells. Bone for bone, heart for heart, muscle for muscle, fat for fat, brain for brain, etc. etc. Whereas for a full body, you take spinal fluid and that has all DNA strings in it. So you just clone a body from that strand since each strand has the entirety of your genealogy. Chiuya says, getting Sade to nod at this, a much easier feat despite the difficulty. That works for me. I'm a better medic than Orochimaru, so it'll easily take half the time. But I'll need a month to read on and study Orochimaru's notes on cloning with the Uzumaki genes. Once I have that, I'll get the samples I need from Nar and we can go from there. Nar, are you comfortable with this? Asks, a bit happy she is able to hopefully help her favorite person besides Shizum. Nar is merely looking at Tuya and Sununade, confused and happy. His emotions on his sleeve, he just smiles at them both, thinking of different way to help him fix the problems wrong with his body. Seeing they agreed on a way and the fact Tuya explained everything step by step made him happy as he understood what they were going to do. He nods frantically, holding on to them both, muttering and sputtering his thank yous as much as he could. Soon after Nar once again falls asleep, Tuya merely walks over and reactivates the seal to hide his damaged body. Sliding on some clothes for him, she just rubs his shoulders. Kimaru lifts Naruto up and gets him on his back once more and looks to the women in the room. To Yuya-san, Hokage-sama, I shall return Naruto-san to his home. The dossier already stated where he lives. I expect you to show up soon to Yuya. I know you and the Hokage have much to discuss. Kimaru says as he leaves the office of the Hokage and begins walking over towards Naruto's run-down apartment in the red light district of the village. Okay, why does Orochimaru have a full dossier on Nar? How does he know where he lives, and why would Orochimaru get really pissed off at Kabuto for injuring him when he himself impaled Nar in the lung with the Kusanagi? Asks as she glares at Tuya, waiting for an answer. In all honesty, I have no clue. Our express orders when on this mission alone were to only incapacitate Naruto Uzumaki. If any harm were to come to him, the one who dealt it would be murdered rather harshly. Orochimaru, for some strange reason, has been watching Naruto for a long time, since he was in the orphanage before getting thrown out into the cold when he was 4 years old. Tuya says, looking at the shock on Sade's face. She looks at Tuya and sees she isn't lying to her. She sighs and shakes her head, confused about this. I just don't get why. The only thing I can guess is that Orochimaru sees nearly everything about himself inside Nar. Tuya says, getting Sununade to widen her eyes in surprise. That could be a possibility. Both Naruto and Orochimaru are orphans. Both of them were scorned and hated by the entirety of the village for something out of their control. Nar for obvious reasons and Orochimaru because of his appearance. Both of them are geniuses when you think about it. Nar is a battle tactician of the highest order. In the heat of battle, he thinks of immediately powerful strategies to overpower and overcome his enemies without realizing it. When he is unable to match them head to head, Orochimaru was the same way. When he wasn't able to outthink or overpower his opponents head-on, he did the same Naruto did and just had to wing it. Both of them trained and worked themselves to near death to get their power on their own terms. And they both even dreamed of being Hokage of Konohagakure. No sad. If anything, Orochimaru probably sees Naruto as his own flesh and blood. Sununade says, remembering all the time she and her team went on missions and fought in the shinobi wars. Orochimaru is pretty obsessed with power and jutsu now more than anything else. Although he still has Naruto on a pedestal. Something about keeping a promise made in blood. Orochimaru only went after Sasuke because the emo bud is useful in copying any and all jutsu that isn't related to bloodlines. Chiuya Seisune just sighs and rubs her head due to the migraine. By the way, Kimaru will need you to check on his lungs and blood. He may have the Shikatsu Muku, but he also got the ivory curse that causes his clan to die. I hope you can cure him. I'd kind of like to keep him around for a long time. Chiuya says. Asune decides to smirk at the red head and chuckle. Don't worry, Firecracker. I'll heal your boyfriend. Wouldn't want you to get lonely now, would I? Nad says as to Yuya doesn't rise to the bait and merely looks at Sununade. Kimaru is a trusted friend and my closest cousin Sununade. I want him healed because he's family and I worry about him. Please don't joke around about my relationships. I have my eyes set on someone who I know will be able to keep me in line and someone I wouldn't mind coming to love. Who that might be, I don't know. It could be Kimaru in the future, but I don't know. Could be someone else from Konohagure. Right now though, I prefer to stay single and help my clansmen with what I can. Tiyuya says as she just ignores Sununade's response, only picking up on bringing Kimaru to the hospital in the morning. Tiyuya arrives at Naruto's apartment to see Kimaru looking at the door. Seeing Tiyuya, Kimaru looks at her with his usual emotionless mask and doesn't say anything. Cow Tits says you need to show up at the hospital in the morning. She'll see what she can do about your disease. Kimaru, where's Naruto_? Tiyuya asks and Kimaru looks over to the door near them. Understanding what he means, Tiyuya nods her head and walks to it, opening the door. Get some rest, Kimaru. We have a busy day tomorrow. Tiyuya says, getting Kimaru to nod and just lay down on Naruto's rather comfortable couch. Soon falling asleep, Kimaru's body goes limp and the sofa beneath him groans in protest at the heavy bed mail as its legs snap in half and drop it to the floor. Tiyuya laughs a little bit as she sees Kimaru now on the floor with an aggravated expression on his face, mumbling about killing sofa designers before closing Naruto's bedroom door. Tiyuya walks over and sits on the bed looking at Naruto's prone form on his bed and sigh, seeing that his face once again is contorted into one of fear and hurt. She gets under the covers of the bed facing Nar and rubs his cheek, getting him to ease up in his face to return to a pleased one. Don't worry, Naruto_, we'll fix you right up. Now, let's hope you didn't get the Uzumaki cuddle gene like I did. Otherwise, we might wake up to an awkward position. Tiyuya says softly before soon falling asleep. Morning soon comes as sun shines inside the room, hitting Tiyuya in the eyes. The red-headed woman just groans softly as she digs her face into the pillow beneath her. The woman sighs and just opens her eyes, coming face to face with the slightly tan skin to her genjutsu'd clansman beneath her. A large pool of her drool is currently on her companion's chest from her deep sleep. The second thing the woman notices is that her and her clansmen both sadly had gotten the Uzumaki cuddle gene. However, Nar got it even worse than her as his face is currently happily nestled into her hair as his arms are wrapped around her neck as his legs are interlocked with her own. Her own arms wrapped around his chest. Crap, we both got this stupid gene. Well, it is pretty nice waking up in the arms of someone who can make you feel this good. Yuya thinks to herself as she untangles Naruto from herself and walks out of the apartment bedroom. She sees that Kimaru is gone and in his place is a note. Picking it up, she reads it. Dear to Yuya, woke up and saw you with our new clansman. You both got the gene from what I can tell. Went to appointment with the cow. Try not to let the trash on the street get to you. We'll clean it up soon enough. Get Naruto to one of the training grounds if you can. Otherwise, you could just stay in his house and help rebuild his composure. Seeing this Tiyuya just smiles a little bit and sighs, shaking her head. She soon heads to the kitchen and looks inside the fridge. She immediately regretted that decision as when she opened the door to the fridge. A mass of black decayed food and juices immediately reached out for her in a grabbing motion. Slamming the door the fridge as the smell hit her makes Tiyuya gag and nearly vomit on the floor. Shaking her head, she looks at the fridge and just sighs, knowing that it's most likely due to the civilians selling him expired or non-edible things. The fact it coagulated into a living sentient mass of death and decay was just too much to process at the moment. No wonder he's reported to only ever eat ramen. It's the only thing he can either buy or eat without fear of it expiring or killing him. Teuya says as she looks around the pantry and finding plenty of dry ingredients as she begins cooking breakfast for both herself and Nar. She hears him wake up and heading out of the bedroom. Seeing the red head in his kitchen cooking brings Nar a bit of pleasure at knowing that what he had experienced wasn't a very elaborate genjutsu. Sitting at the table, Nar just wonders what's being made for him. As Teuya begins speaking or Narokan, "How do you sleep?" she asks in a rather plain tone. "Better than I have in a long time, actually. What are you making for breakfast?" Nar tilts his head curiously as he smells the delicious food cooking on the stove top. "Pancakes and toast. I had to limit what I could use because something inside your fridge decided to attack me," Teuya says, a bit curious as to whether he knows of it or not. "Oh, you met Drippy. Yeah, he's kind of a douche in the morning. Hates being woken up." Nar says. Teuya looks at him like he's insane. "You named that thing?" Teuya asks incredulously. "Well, yeah, it is his apartment complex after all. I was just thrown into this thing despite the Sandime trying to get me somewhere better. I was told demons deserve only the company of demons. And well, Drippy sort of became my only companion, even if he's just a mass of congealed rotten and decayed food and drinks that merged into one giant mass with sentient consciousness." Nar says sadly as Teuya just sighs, pinching the bridge of her nose. "Jesus Narokan, you're going to be the death of me. Let's just take Drippy as you call him and leave him in one of the forests around the village. He might be happier in nature, able to well be anywhere but a cramped fridge." Teuya says, a bit annoyed at him but understanding the situation. "Yeah, I guess. Hear that, you carpet-staining bastard. I'm setting you free on the populace of the forests." Nar says, only for a gurgling sound to accompany the statement, which surprisingly sounds happy. "I know just the place. It's where we held the Tunin exams the time Suna invaded Konoha." Nar says, getting Teuya to agree as she sets the plates down in front of him and herself before they start eating. Soon after breakfast is done, Teuya and Naruto are both seen carrying a large fridge through town, taped up and chained, heading towards the Forest of Death. After unloading the fridge inside the darkest part of the forest they could reach, Nar opened the fridge and both of them raced out as quickly as they could. "Okay, we'll never have to deal with that thing again, hopefully. Come on, we have to head to an appliance store and buy a new fridge. We can talk along the way about how I'll be training you from now on." Teuya says, shocking Nar as he looks at her confused. "Why, you'd really train me? Like for real training, not just leaving me to do chakra control exercises or give me a piece of paper I can't understand and tell me to do it and leave me to peep on girls or get drunk?" Nar asks, a bit hopeful to hear her answer. "Why the hell would I do any of that? You obviously have good enough control to not only maintain that genjutsu seal on your neck, but you can do that while water or tree walking and form a Rinnegan and thousands of clones. No, your control is fine right now, and the only thing left in way of control exercises is to combine them or make your own. I'll be training you to use the yin-yang release of your Uzumaki chakra. With it, you can create anything from your dense chakra alone, like blades or chains." Teuya says to Nar, getting him to nod at her. "What will this training accomplish in time?" "Teuya-chan, I mean, making weapons and solid things from my chakra seems very useful, and since I have near infinite chakra, I'll never run out of weapons." "But what else will we be doing?" Nar asks as they trek past the two Eternal Gate guards who are out on a stroll through the village. "Well, while learning to make physical entities from your chakra, we'll also be training your knowledge on Fu and Jutsu. I mean your Uzumaki. So you can probably decipher and understand any and all Fu and Jutsu just by looking at it. But just knowing what it does and what it is can't help you much if you don't know what to do with said knowledge. So I'll be helping you to apply your Fujutsu to your everyday life. Tuya says, not realizing that the 2-ton guards on break heard her. Hey, if you want, we can help you by giving you some books from our time studying for the Junin exams. Me and Izumo both tried taking it, and Fujitsu has to be mastered to the 3rd level of Konoha standards before you can be made one. Katu says, looking at the 2 Uzuaki. Nar looks at Katu and Izumo as they both smile happily at the kid. Really? You'd both do that for me? Nar asks happily when hearing this. Of course, little dude. I mean, seriously, it's 'cause of you this stupid village is any fun. Those pranks you pull on people that make a shinobi chase. You are always a fun way to break up the monotony of the day. Amo says with a chuckle. Wow, you really think so? I only prank to get attention, but I didn't think you enjoyed the chases. I mean, when I didn't want to be found, I was never found at all. Nar says, getting both of the Tunin to laugh and nod. Yeah, that's what made it fun, dude. The endurance needed to chase you always kept us in shape. I mean, it's not everyone that can literally outrun, outwit, and hide from ambush, specially trained to be the best in all facets of being a shinobi, dude. Katu says with a happy smile as he reaches into his backpack. He pulls out a few books and hands them over to Tuya and smiles some. Huh, thanks you guys. I hope the gate duty isn't too bad today. Nar says, getting both gate guards to just nod and leave. Nah, it's pretty chill most days. Hey kid, any pranks planned soon? You know, like that one you pulled on Itachi. Amo asks with curiosity. Wait, Blondie here pranked Itachi as in Itachi, strongest Anbu captain and the one man who made Orochimaru his pants in fear after his fight with him. Chuya asks, a bit stunned, not believing it for a moment. Yeah, it was awesome to watch. I don't know how the little dude did it, but seriously, he had Itachi Chia scared of what would happen to him should he upset Nar. Haha. Hey kid, remember that time you pranked him by replacing all his underwear with panties and his normal clothes with see-through variants? Amo says, laughing at the image of Itachi walking around in nothing but pink panties and see-through clothing. Yeah, well, the prick deserved it for spilling my ramen. Nar says a bit angrily. Yeah, and he got you back by having all your jumpsuits dyed white and black. Thus started the great prank war that nearly cost the village the life of peace it grew so used to having. Kotetsu says with a laugh, I still can't believe you were able to somehow get him to wear that god-awful green spandex suit Guy gave you without Itachi noticing the youthful change to his clothing. The only thing that made it perfect was how you modified it to disintegrate after a set time when introduced to body heat and his clothes evaporated in front of all his fangirls. Izumo laughs, remembering the day the great Itachi conceded to his only official defeat in his entire history as a shinobi. Wait, how the did you pull that off? Tuya asks, a bit curious as to how he was this good. Never with an Uzumaki, especially one who's determined. You should know that to Yuya-chan, Nar says, answering her question without really answering it. She smiles at him and just nods happily, agreeing with him since it's true. When Inazumaki says he'll help or that he'll do something, it may not be in the way you want or know, but the job will be done. Good. It seems you ain't the piece of Shitumaki I thought you were. She says in a rather joking tone, making sure Nar knows she doesn't really mean it to be a bad thing. Rather than say anything, Nar just places a hand onto his chest as he tries to calm his heart. It wasn't an erratic or speeding beat that forced him to do this. No, he gripped his chest as a feeling so very alien to him filled his chest. Not really knowing how to deal with it, Naruto just ignores it for now and smiles at his new best and obviously soon to be closest friend. He grabs her hand and just tugs her along after waving bye to the gate guards who laugh and hope he has anything in the works to keep them on their toes, never realizing that on their backs were notes that said, "I'm with Dumb," and an arrow pointing from Katu to Uzumo. While Uzumo had the note that said, "I'm with Dumber," with an arrow going towards Katu. So, you think they'll ever notice the notes? Tuya asks, a bit confused as to how smart those two really were. They probably already know, but they're so laid back they don't care. They probably think it's hilarious. I was able to get them while we were talking. Nar says, getting to Yuya to look at both of the men once more, who are just pointing at each other and laughing. They seem like good people. So few of them in this garbage heap of a village. They could become good friends to our clan, to Yuya says, getting Nar to smile. Those two were the greatest ninja to me besides my Gigi. I looked up to both of them because of the fact they always saved me when they could. They went out of their own way to make sure I was safe on my birthdays when they were able to. While they couldn't be there all the time, they did what they could with what they had. I love them both like family, to Yuya. Nar says solemnly as he remembers some bits from his past. To Yuya smiles at Nar and wraps an arm around his neck, pulling him in close to herself. She quickly gives Naruto a gentle and tender noogie to get him out of that down mood he was in, as his sadness is replaced by rather playful laughs of pain. "Say uncle," to Yuya demands as she nuggies Naruto faster, never noticing the Chunin standing beside them as he crosses his arms, stating under his breath, "Troublesome Gu." Nar stutters out in slight pain as he continues to be noobed while struggling. All the while, Shikamaru actually seems to laugh at this before speaking out. "Haha. Now say, my uncle touched me funny," Shikamaru says as he comes upon them while Tuya is keeping Naruto's head in a headlock. Shikamaru's uncle touched him funny. Naruto says, getting an aorious laugh from Tuya. "You shut your mouth. That's me and Pop's secret," Shikamaru says, agitated. He was played like that. Getting Naruto to laugh. "Good. You're at least getting back to normal. I had heard from Sununade you were with that woman from yesterday and I was worried. Glad you have enough levity to joke around with me," Shikamaru says as Tuya lets Nar go. "Yeah, why wouldn't I be okay with Tuya-chan? She's family," Nar says in the most heartfelt tone he can, getting Tuya to blush slightly and turn her head away. "True, but that doesn't mean she can't hurt you. I mean, she did work for Orochimaru. I'm pretty sure she or her friend can both be sleeper agents or here to plan for a second invasion." "It's not unlikely," Shikamaru says, looking hard at Tuya as she just shrugs her shoulders. "Believe what you want to heal. I'm an Uzumaki and we Uzumaki never turn our backs on or betray our family." Hearing an Uzumaki was living alone in this whole being tortured the way he was by the populace. "Yeah, I had a problem with it. So, of course, I'll do whatever I can to make him feel better. If I wanted to, I could have just knocked his out and taken him to Odagar with me, and there wouldn't have been all you could have done. But what happened? I chose to come to Konoha to be with my clansmen. No ulterior motive, no hidden agenda or underhanded tactics are at play. I'm only here to ease the pain my youngest clansman has felt since he was born, and so is our cousin Kimaru," Tuya says, never once faltering in her words. Shikamaru, for his part, looks at Tuya and notices that everything she said, while skeptical to his analytical brain, is completely true. No falsehoods were spoken to him or to Nar. Sighing softly, Shikamaru just shakes his head from side to side. "Shikamaru, she's family. Most of all, Shizumaki, you remember reading on my clan with me for that book report you Iruka had us do together. Shizumaki, she won't hurt me or Konoha," Nar says, getting Shikamaru to nod and sigh lazily. "Fine, I believe you. Doesn't mean I'm going to trust you, newbie." Watch your back cause while I know you won't hurt Naruto. I'll still be watching you like a hawk. Shikamaru says, getting to Yuya to simply harden her glare at him. She could understand the unease. After all, they just met yesterday. Still, it doesn't mean he has to be such a underscore about it. Watching as Shikamaru leaves the area to Yuya is actually happy in a sense, since while he doesn't trust her, he actually loves her clansman enough to openly speak his distrust of her in an attempt to keep Nar safe. That's the mark of a true friend. I'm sorry for Shikamaru. He's been one of my only friends since we met at the academy. He's just worried about me. Nar says as Tuya smiles and nods. Don't worry about it. Remember, we have to get a fridge and take it home. After that, the day is ours to do with as we please. I plan on spending it catching up with you. I want to know everything Naruto, and I do mean everything. Tuya says, getting Nar to nod and sigh, hoping she won't go ballistic on people around Konoha. It takes at least 2 hours, but soon Tuya and Nar are both carrying a brand new fridge out of an appliance store. Nar has at least a dozen clones all carrying it to make sure it doesn't get broken or fall. As they walk to the apartment, Nar can't help but observe the looks he's now getting. While some are the ever-present hatred he's grown so used to, others are merely staring in morbid curiosity. Probably because of the red head besides him, sighing. Nar goes back to ignoring it as they enter the apartment and set the new fridge up, giving it some time to kick in and start its usual duties. All right, Nar, the new fridge is in place and filled with new Freon. It should take it a few hours to get cold enough to actually be of use like any normal appliance. In the meantime, Tuya begins only to be interrupted by someone knocking on Naruto's door. Nar, getting up from his position on the couch, opens the door and sees the Sonin standing there in the doorway with his teammate Sakura beside him. What do you want, Arozan? Nar asks, a little upset to see this man after what he did a few days ago. Shut it, brat. I told you to stop calling me that. Anyway, I was coming here to tell you some good news. Jiraiya speaks and gets Nar to just tilt his head in confusion, waiting for the pervert to continue. Well, since I know that jutsu Orochimaru uses to swap bodies has a time limit, I know that time is something we have before Sasuke's body is taken. I've decided to take an apprentice again. Jiraiya begins, getting Nar to look at him a bit confused. Was the pervert going to try and make amends with him? I've decided it's time to spread my teachings to the world once again, and I've decided it will be this lovely little wallflower beside me. Originally, I had picked you, but then I met this lovely little one on the way over. Jiraiya says as his nose bleeds, his hand gently rubbing against Sakura's back, getting Nar to look at him a bit disgusted. Nar knows what he's implying with this. Sakura had begged him for help in finding or getting Sasaki back, and he demanded or something similar. She obviously agreed, and Jiraiya knew if she wanted training, she couldn't deny him his sick wants. But the eager look on Sakura's face shows she's enjoying what the pervert is doing and is leaning into his hand. Nar, seeing this, immediately cringes inwardly but keeps his mouth shut for now. She and me both agree that you don't deserve to be trained by someone of my prestige and have come to agree that I should train her instead. Unlike you, she respects my power and doesn't say no to my requests to train. She's smart enough to figure out what I give her without much problem. I wanted to let you know that she'll be gone for 3 years with me, and when she comes back, you'll wish you had done what I asked because you could have been just as strong. See y'all later, runt. Jiraiya says rather callously as Sakura merely sticks her tongue out at Nar and laughs at him a bit before leaving with her new master as the old man's hand grabs her flat as a piece of cardboard. Stupid pervert, disgusting, Nar says, closing the door to his apartment, and he just plops down on the broken couch with a rather sad expression on his face. He had hoped his godfather of all people would have wanted to say sorry or at least been a part of his life. He's used to being wrong, but not when it hurts this much. I heard everything. You want to talk about it? Tuya asks, a bit concerned, as despite what he did, Jiraiya was the first real teacher Naruto had. He did learn the Rinnegan from him after all. It didn't matter whether Jiraiya taught him a little bit or a whole lot. The fact he taught him something is proof enough that Jiraiya taught him something. I'm fine to Yuya. Just shocking to know that everyone accuses Orochimaru to be the pedo. Yet there goes his rival Jiraiya. Actually, a little girl, my teammate, no less. I'm kind of glad he chose her. Least that leaves me here in the village with you and Kimaru. Besides, I'm sure you're way stronger than his pathetic old. You and Tsunade both. Nar says with happiness, getting Tuya to sigh in relief after all the underscore dropped on Nar. He didn't need more of it lopped onto him. Both Nar and Tuya spend all their time that day speaking to each other about their past and all that they had endured. Naruto's story was obviously longer than Tuya's, but still they both ended the tales by just sitting comfortably in silence as they held on to one another on the broken but still comfy couch. The both of them laying close to and facing one another, never noticing how Taya's chin was placed on Naruto's head as her arms wrapped around his body as she pulled him into her lap. Nar and Tuya stay in this position for hours, never speaking a word, simply sitting in a peaceful silence. The beating of their hearts the only thing they can hear, the comfortable position and embrace they feel with each other soon has them succumb to sleep. Tuya laying on the broken couch, still holding Naruto like a lifeline, not wanting to let it go. Nar turns around and faces towards Tuya as he edges himself closer to her as if she were his lover. His own arms wrap around her torso and pull her in close as he too lays on the couch, not wanting to leave her warm hold. And soon as he drifts off into a gentle slumber after Tuya had done so. As the door to the apartment opens, the doorway reveals that Kimaru is in it and holding a brand new couch. Tuya, rubbing her eyes to get the sleep out, takes a glance at the clock and sees that it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She and Nar had taken a 4-hour nap. I see you're enjoying the current company you keep. Kimaru says in a bland tone. Why wouldn't I? We just talked all day. I have to repair the damage done by the villagers. And the best way is to start at the beginning. We just kind of got comfortable in the silence after all he went through was aired out and left in the open. Tuya says, getting Kimaru to nod in understanding. So like what you did with me, only you never fell asleep with me in your arms. Kimaru says, setting the couch down. Yak, cause while you are family you didn't need a hug, you needed a good kick in the. So what did the hag say about your condition? Tuya asks, a bit worried. She said that if I had fought that day we met, Nar would have most likely died of my disease, was able to give me a treatment and I feel better than I have in a long while. It'll take at least 3 years but I am able to be cured, Kimaru says, still with no emotion though Tuya can tell he is happy. That's good. Remember not to use your Shikatsumu too much when training Nar. We need you alive to help us out. Tuya says, getting Kimaru to nod at her with a smile. Having never really had friends besides Jugo, Kimaru felt rather pleased knowing the real history behind his and Tuya's clan. Getting closer to her over time as he had with Jugo had made sure his life, while meaningless to most, was at least fun to have. Of course to Yuya. So what's the damage? Kimaru asks as his eyes glance over to Nar. It's bad, Kimaru. I mean like multiple suicide attempt bad. Bad enough that he literally committed seppuku 13 times in one day, just hoping that maybe the next time he spills his guts on the floor that he wouldn't wake up again. After the 13th attempt, he stopped trying because he just grew numb to the pain and resigned himself to live with pain, hatred, and torture that always befell him. He did that when he was 9. And Kimaru 9. Chiuya says heatedly as her nails dig hard enough into her palm that her hands begin to bleed everywhere. I see. So, we have a long way to go to pick up his psyche and re-establish some form of self-esteem that has him confident enough in himself that he doesn't second-guess anything in the way of compliments towards him. As he is now, he would probably take those compliments and twist them into insults. He probably takes what we and Sunade say to heart without that defense because we're family and he has never had real family to trust besides the Saname Hokage Hosunade says is like his grandfather. Kimaru says to Tuya as she nods her head thinking on how to up Naruto's self-worth. As she and Kimaru carefully transfer Naruto to the newly purchased couch and move it into position where the old broken one had been, they both smile and get the broken one out of the house by hurling it as hard as they could into the neighboring building through the wall. Nar had been right when claiming that no one wanted to live next to the so-called demon, as the entire section of city he lived in was barren of all life besides the three of them. It was as if the entire village quarantined this entire 6B block neighborhood. That would come in handy in the future for Taya's plans, and she'd talk to the Hokage after Naruto wakes up about getting the entire area under Naruto's ownership and walled off from the rest of the village. She could make it the most safe and secure place in the entirety of the village. As she was having this thought of her plans on how to convert the entire area, someone seems to be walking over to Naruto's door. To Yuya, sensing this person from the moment he was close enough, just pales considerably. Whoever this person is, her and Kimaru both would have endless trouble trying to fight them if they were here to hurt Nar. Watching as the old man easily in his 80s walk up the stairs to Naruto's house and just stop in front of the two of them before seeing the destroyed house with the broken couch inside. It brings the old man to laugh some. It seems you've made some improvements to the house next door. 3 points for style, 4 points for the landing. If Narutkin had done that, he'd have destroyed the wall, inner wall, a part of the roof, and had the couch in one piece laying in the middle of the living room before the house caved in on itself. The old man laughs a little at their faces before Tuya gets rather angry as a tick mark appears on her head at this old man's criticizing of her and Kimara's throw. Oh well, sorry, ya. Uptight destruction critic. I'm such a hack, Chiuya says, getting the old man to simply smile and pat her shoulder. Well, with that out of the way, I had just spoken with Sununade about Nar and his return from the mission he was sent on yesterday. It seems correct in calling you an Uzumaki. You sure have their spirit and quick temper. Always such fun when you Suzuki are around. Never know what to expect. So, where's Nar? Is he inside? The old man asks, getting to Yuya to simply look at the old man like he was growing a second head. Complimenting her on her anger and attitude rather than tell her. A lady shouldn't talk like that. Who is this guy? He looks familiar to her. That's for sure. Yeah, he's inside, old timer. Why do you want to know though? If you're here to hurt him, I don't give a underscore how strong you are or how much chakra you have. I will defend my clansmen with my life. And so will Kimaru, Tuya says rather threateningly as Kimaru silently moves in position to strike should the man prove to be hostile. Oh, nothing like that, young lady. I'm merely here to check up on my grandson. It is Saturday after all. That's mine and his alone time to catch up and just relax, watching cartoons, training, or just enjoying a good board game or two. The old man say, getting to Yuya to realize who this person is. It's hard to recognize him without his robes after all. But no doubt about it. This was Hiruzen Sarutobi, the Sandame Hokage of Konohagakure. Oh, you're the Sandime. I completely forgot what you looked like since it's been so long. Kimaru, stand down. He's okay. Tuya quickly says, getting Kimaru to slowly put his hand down as in it was a solid bone dagger ready to strike. Oh my, it is you. I had a suspicion to Yuya. It's been so long since I've seen you. I really missed you. We have to catch up sometime. Also, you do realize I could see him this entire time, right? He couldn't sneak up on me even if he tried. Naruto is the only person able to ever sneak up on me. Anyway, he's inside. Yes, Hizen says happily as Tuya merely nods her head. Good. Come with me then. We all could just use a day to ourselves to relax. I'm really late with today, but that's because I'm still recovering from my fight with Rosa of the Golden Sand. I just don't heal like I used to. Hai says, opening the door to Naruto's apartment. Looking inside, he smiles at the sight before him of Naruto sleeping in the most peaceful way he has ever seen. The smile on his face isn't his usual foxy grin mask that fools so many. It's a genuine smile born of happiness. Something Naruto has rarely, if ever, experienced. I'm guessing one of you are the reason he's sleeping so peacefully. Words can't express how thankful I am for that. Wake up my boy. Hai says lightly shaking Nar, who wakes up slowly only to look at the old man. His face lights up and immediately draws the old man in for a hug. Hi Gigi, I missed you so much. How are you feeling? Are you doing okay? Was it hard getting here? Are your injuries acting up? Need another blood transfusion? Nar asks, firing off his questions in rapid succession. Hai just laughs as he spends some time with Naruto simply answering his questions and answering some of his own as they tell each other about what has happened themselves the past week. The entire time to Yuya and Kimaru looking at them both, seeing that they really do seem to be family in all but blood. Soon the hours tick away as Hiruzen and Naruto finish talking to one another. Hears Naruto's stomach grumble as if it was busy devouring itself and chuckles. Spent so much time with your family, you forgot to eat, didn't you, Nar? Hai asks as Nar embarrassingly just nods and rubs the back of his head. Come on, I'll treat you and your family to some dinner at Yamaniku's barbecue. Come on, Heen says as he stands up and leaves the apartment. Nar to Yuya and Kimaru following suit. So Nar, did Jiraiya stop by your house today and give you the good news? Hai asks, just remembering about Jiraiya's plan to train Naruto out of the village. Oh, you mean about the training trip? Yeah, he told me about it. He also told me I wasn't worthy of being his student because of my blatant disrespect towards him and that Sakura is going to be his new apprentice. I have no one to train me besides to Yuya and maybe Kimaru if he wants to. Nar says, getting Hiruzen to look at him shocked. I knew that perverted idiot would uproar somehow, just not this badly. Well, he better pray to whatever god or gods he prays to for safety and mercy, for your mother will have none. His speaks, getting genuinely angry at his perverted student for his actions. Don't worry, Gigi. I'm used to this happening. You should know that already. Nar speaks as Hiruzen just rubs his temples, groaning. Nar, you shouldn't be used to that happening. You should have a trainer worth your efforts. Hearing you say to Yuya will be training you makes me happy, because if anything, she's an Uzumaki who knows about her heritage and yours. She can train you in Uzumaki techniques, and Kimaru looks to be a Kaya. So, I know you'll be set for taijutsu. We have to find you a teacher who will be able to teach you better enjutsu and genjutsu. If not genjutsu, then we'll have to make sure you can at least break a genjutsu and know when you're trapped in one. Hai says, a little annoyed at the that keep treating Nar the way they do. Hai just tunes the world around himself and Nar out, not hearing anything but his acceptance about what to be trained in. It seems the old saying his sensei's wife, Minato, used to prat on about is true in the worst possible ways. If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. It's always what she spoke about when dealing with anything she didn't trust to anyone else. It seems now is a time for Hiruzen to do things himself once again and take an apprentice. With Naruto's ungodly infinite chakra and stamina, his eagerness to learn and impress, not to mention his durability, Naruto will undoubtedly become the absolute most powerful shinobi in all of existence given just a short few years if given the proper training. I've decided speaks getting to Yuya and Kimaru to look at him along with Nar, who was asking to Yuya what he'd be learning. What did you decide, Gigi? Who's going to be training me? Nar asks, a bit confused at the outburst, wondering what his Gigi decided on. Nar, I picked out your sensei in my head while thinking. I just have to have a discussion with them. Meet them at Training Ground 13 at 5 a.m. Monday morning. Go by Sununade's office tomorrow to pick up your permission pass from her about entering the cage training fields. The pass will let you into the training ground to meet your sensei. Hai speaks with happiness as Naruto nods his head happily. The four soon reach the establishment and get seated to order some food from the Okamiki chefs. The Okamiki know of Naruto's burden and have never hated him for it. He knows that they even treat Nar better than most other customers simply because they know he needs it. It's a real shame clans like the Akamaki, Yamanaka, Harem, and the Inuzuka weren't higher in number than a few hundred. The civilians outnumber shinobi 1,000 to 1 with how massive the village is. Knowing that Nar at least is treated right by who matters brings Hiruzen to smile a bit. The four draw eyes of nearly everyone in the entire restaurant as it looks like an old grandfather taking out his 3 grandchildren. After the waiter gets all 4 orders, he smiles and pats Naruto's shoulder. Little one, I know you just lost your friends, sorry about it. Yours and your party's meal is on the house tonight. Okay, the waiter says, getting Naruto to nod at the waiter. He smiles at the portly woman and gives her a thumbs up. Soon, the mood changes as Hiruzen and Nar begin a normal back and forth between themselves as they usually do. The laughing and joking around going on brings the mood in the usually bustling place to a rather light-hearted mood from the cold and busy one it has so often. After the food is brought to the rather large booth, the four are sitting at. Nar gets called out by someone only to look up and see Ino and her team with their sensei Asuma and Karana. Naro, hey, what are you doing here? Ino asks a little happily. Not really used to seeing Naruto out of his apartment when not at Ikyaku or training ground. Oh, hi, listen, don't be mad about Sasaki. Okay, please, I tried my best. We all did to bring him back, but there was nothing we could do. Nar hurriedly speaks, hoping to quell any anger the blonde has towards him. What? Oh, that, yeah, it's fine, Nar. I know about what happened. It's okay. Sasaki left on his own despite what Sakura said. You and the others tried your best, so it's fine. I'm more worried about you, dummy. Are you okay? Ino asks, getting a bit close to him and looking him over as if she was a nurse. I'm fine, Ino. Really. It hurts knowing a friend abandoned me. Sure, but it's okay. We'll get him back sometime soon. If we don't, well, we'll have to kill him then. It's how the rules are. Nar says, a bit unhappy at who he thought was his friend just up and leaving the team like that. I know, but hey, at least we won't have to worry about that for a while. I heard that you were getting taken as an apprentice by Sakura. She left to go find the teacher to ask him something. Probably what you were learning, Ino says, a bit happy, wondering who it was only to see Naruto get a sad and angry look on his face. She didn't ask what I was learning. No, she instead inflated the pervert's ego and tea-laked him into taking her as an apprentice instead, leaving me to blow in the wind like a piece of garbage. Nar says, feeling the sting of betrayal again as he just sigh. The others around them all gasping a bit at what happened. Seriously, Forehead stole your sensei and convinced him to ditch you. What did she offer to sleep with the bastard? Ino asks, a bit pissed off at her ex-friend for this, only to see Naruto nod his head at Ino, getting Asuma to sigh and pinch the bridge of his nose while Kurenai just shakes her head. Choji and Shikamaru just look at him with sympathy and hatred towards those who hurt him. I'm so sorry. And Sensei just finishing up our training for the day and grab Shika and Choji to get something to eat. Would it be okay to join you and your guests? Ino asks, hoping her sensei doesn't mind, as Asuma just shrugs his shoulders. Hai smiles at the way Ino is acting, knowing of her feelings simply from looking at them interact. Ino sits down next to Naruto when he agrees, getting to Yuya to just glare at her a bit before scooting closer to Naruto's right, nearly being on his lap just as Ino gets into the booth sitting next to his dad and Karina. Shoji and Shikamaru scoot in and sit down next to Kimaru. Shikamaru being rather uncomfortable about the whole thing, but doesn't speak up about it. So, Dad, what do you have planned for Naruto? His own sensei Kakashi is going back to Anbu to get away from him, since we know he won't train Nar. I'm too busy with my students. Guy and Karana are too busy with theirs, and no other jonin is available for being a sensei. Who are you going to talk Tsunade into training Nar? Asuma asks in coded seals discreetly under the table. I have an idea, son. I'm going to talk with them tomorrow about it. I know they'll agree with me, but I have to make sure things go just right. Nar will be trained correctly. If that'll make certain signs back to his son as an unexpected third has some seals discreetly sent of her own. Good. I hope you pick someone worth training, my clansman. After all, if you pick an underscore, or someone who neglects him, I'll show you just why my mother earned the name as the Crimson Devil among the evil that was the Uzumaki. Tiyuya signs to them both with a smirk, getting both men to just sweat a little bit as they remember the Uzumaki's streak and penchant for vengeance. His, however, remembers Kusha and her husband and how brutal those two were when crossed. Kusha's husband especially. That man was a monster in every sense of the word. After all, it wasn't the Yandaime who fought Kaobi to a standstill so he could be sealed. No, the Yandaime couldn't keep the beast busy and seal it at the same time. So, Nar, who are the two new people? I haven't met them yet or seen them around the village before. Ino remarks, getting everyone at the table to look at them. Well, this is to Yuya-chan. She's my clansman, and that's Kimaru. He's also my clansman. The Uzumaki weren't just a civilian family. We were a powerful clan according to Tuya. Nar says, getting Ino to smile at the red-headed woman as Tuya feels a bit prideful, speaking happily. You bet. We were some of the most powerful people in the entirety of the elemental nations. Hell, it took an alliance of 3 major countries to take us out. Hell, my father was the man to hold the Kaoli off and fight it to a standstill by himself to buy the Yandaime time to kill it. Tuya says with pride, getting the others to look at her a bit astonished. There's no way that's true. The Yandaime fought the Kaobi by himself and call it. Not your dad, Ino said a bit skeptically. Only OT hey to you. You scoff at this. Oh yeah, I'll prove it. You're a damn Yamanaka. Do your damn mind trick on me and search for the memory. If one of you knows a memory projection jutsu or something, I can prove it easily. Juya says as Ino smirks. Fine, I'll do the jutsu. Kurenai-sensei, can you perform a genjutsu like that? Ino asks only to get the woman to nod at this. Of course I can. I've been asked by the TNI department to perform it constantly. Just go ahead and let's get this done. A dinner and a show. Karana speaks as Hisan just nods a bit, agreeing, wondering what really happened that day, not having been there himself till the battle was over. While knowing the outcome, he didn't know what led to it. Seeing Tuya agree to it since she was literally on the front lines next to her own mother, as they were literally the closest to the Kaobi when it was rampaging. As Ino goes through the hand seals, So does Kurnai, who casts the memory Vool Jutsu. Shinten no Jutsu mind transfer Jutsu. Ino speaks as her body goes limp inside the screen that is currently in front of everyone. They see a door that is stained with blood and locked only to have it open up as Ino walks inside. Memory view 12 years prior October 10th. Kanahagakar song Darker Darker Yet Darker by Shara X begin. Tuya is currently holding her mother's hand as she's preparing to give birth. A blue-haired man standing away from them both as he keeps an eye on the Kyobi. A blonde-haired man shows up soon after and looks towards the blue-haired man. Most of what's being said is blocked out as Tuya is currently focused on her mother's anguished screams and how she's holding her mother's hand tightly. Turning around, she notices the blue-haired man lean down and kiss her forehead and her mother's lips before he nods at her. Toch-chan, watch over your mother. Daddy's going to do something that will ensure our safety. As you know, deep in your genes is the same ability I am about to use. Not all Uzumaki have it. You have it and so will your brother as I sense his form easily enough. Watch over your mother within this barrier. Keep a steady flow of chakra to the seal to keep her pain managed and make the birthing process easier. Daddy's going to fight the Kalobi to buy enough time for Yandai-san to deal with it. Be strong to Yuya and remember you're always going to be Daddy's little fireball. The man speaks before heading off. Looking at the massive red-furred rabbited fox, Yuya sees her father's 4 bright pink chains erupt from his spine right behind the heart. The 4 chains shooting out and trapping 3 tails and 1 striking paw, keeping an entire section of village safe. The blue-haired man merely keeps a calm face on as he walks towards the Kyobi. The Kyobi having a design of sharing in his eyes. The blue-haired man merely dodges and ducks at swipes and strikes the Kyobi makes towards him, retaliating with glowing fu and jutsu kanji in strange symbols resembling hands, objects, and skulls. The male smiles as from his kanji sprout jutsu and some powerful ones at that. The kanji for a Kaden Karua Andana and a Sweden swear on a fire and water dragon missile bullets. A Sweden T-water gunshot and even a few strange Raiden techniques all assault the Kyobi, whom jumps back and tries dodging a few of the jutsu. Swatting its flailing tails at the man who just uses his chains to block the tails from striking, wraps them around the Kyobi only to then quickly have the chains lift the Kyobi into the air before slamming it into the earth a few times and hurl it away from himself. The monstrous Boo, only annoyed, gets back up and slams a paw at the standing who erects a few nutsu barrier around himself that burned Kyobi's paw. Kalobi growing angrier at the person who was doing this. The male just walks forward, his white lab coat billowing in the wind as he keeps his hands behind his back. His eyes locked on the Kyobi, who is currently forming a massive ball in his mouth. The male merely smiles at this and reinforces his barrier with 4 more levels. As he continues walking towards the Kyobi lets out a massive bijima aimed right at the blue-haired scientist point blank, with its power leveling an entire section of forest and ground for the next few miles. The dust settles and the barrier and the blue-haired man are gone. As Kyobi turns around to once again aim at the town, a massive pillar of chakra explodes into the sky of pure viscous white as often can be heard. Turning around, the Kyobi comes face to face with the currently bone-white form of the lab coat-wearing man. Chakra literally formed in a pillar around him as it explodes out of his body, which is currently melting away as if it was some form of plastic. The right side of his head having a massive crack leading up the skull from the top of the eye socket, which branches off into a jagged path as flowing out with chakra. And on his left side just under the eye leading down to his teeth from the bottom of the eye is another break. The man's melting form merely teleports in front of the Kyobi as UF speaking in a strange way. Symbols and kanji appear in the strange form once again, while the man has a deep purple glow in his eye sockets where his eyes used to be. The male's form easily seen as a skeletal figure is inside the white lab coat. His hands never once leaving his back. The kanji once again form in strange ways as if some way of calling out jutsu without hand seals. Fu and jutsu is certainly being shown to its fullest extent as the mere kanji for the jutsu made of formed chakra are enough to call forth the attacks. Once again, Kyobi is assaulted with fire and water dragons plus multiple gunshots and electrocutions. The final few kanji mixing together forming entirely new kanji which glows a bright green only to soon have the earth itself shake. The green kanji grow in size as the skeletal figure who forms the kanji pours a massive amount of chakra form his pillar into the kanji. The kanji slams into the earth as form the glowing kanji. The earth erupts and splits open as massive pillars of wood all form together building a really large and massive wood statue that is easily dwarfing the Kyobi in size. On its back is a massive wheel with thousands upon thousands of wooden hands. The skeletal figure's smile never fades as the technique is called out by startled onlookers. Moken, Shinsa, Senju, a sage art would release true several thousand hands. The massive construct soon turns around with the wheel of hands spinning, attacking Kyobi. The hands snapping and shattering as they slam into Kyobi's body. The skeletal male's body breaking down as the form he holds is becoming unstable. The skeletal hands forming the kanji from solid chakra soon loses the white form it once had turning to a deathly purple as the wooden statue loses all 7,000 hands on the wheel only to eject the wooden circle from its back. The lab coat wearing man moving his hands in front of himself as the statue follows his moves. The skeletal male walks forwards towards the wounded Kyobi who is currently launching multiple biwamas like a mindless animal in a corner. The massive statue begins to pound on the Kyobi and kick it around the field. The statue grabs hold of Kyobi's tails and slams it into the ground at its sides repeatedly as if to show the Kyobi how weak it currently was. After the fifth slam into the ground, the Saint Five at arms break and shatter. The skeletal male's own arms having melted away, leaving only the skeletal bones that are only moving with chakra. The massive wooden statue is then blown to bits as a full-power Bijama hits it dead in the chest. The skeletal male merely doesn't lose his smile as his flesh melts away, revealing that his bone-white skull was also affected by the outpour of chakra, his skull showing those same cracks and breaks leading into nothing but darkness inside the skull. The male walks towards Kyobi once more with his hands held behind his back. More chakra-constructed hands appearing in writing kanji forming demon-like bone heads all looking like Kyobi skulls. The mouths forming solid purple chakra balls swirling with energy. The male having copied the Kyobi's best attack the biwama. The skull-like heads floating at his side begin to appear all around the Kyobi in random intervals, blasting the Kyobi with point-blank biwamas formed of his own dense chakra. The Kyobi being pushed back easily enough as it swipes at the floating heads missing them entirely. While small, they pack a hell of a punch if the chunks of flesh being ripped form Kyobi are any indication. All the while, the male's spine still showing the 4 solid pink chains from the tenkatsu point right behind the heart. The chains easily keeping the man upright and walking towards the Kyobi when his own legs are no longer able. The male smiles as his chakra once a massive pillar drawing attention for miles is nothing but a small cascading wave rolling off him. As the more techniques he uses, the smaller the pillar became till it barely enveloped his form at all. The skeletal male has his malformed melted skull form what resembles a face to which smiles as more kanji forms in the air in the strange symbols. The kanji making another technique from wood as the skeletal male is currently tying the Sayobi's mouth shut with 2 chains as 2 others are keeping the 9 tails flowing at its back tied down to its waist. The skeletal man currently on his knees as a second one of him forms appearing at Tuya in her mother's side. A brand new healthy baby boy is in the redhead's arms, at which point the skeletal form places a palm on the child's belly. Glowing purple kanji forms on the belly of the child, branding itself into his flesh before disappearing completely from view as the thing that placed it puffs out of existence as the Yandaime picks up the newborn child, whispering a small apology as he disappears with the child. The skeletal smiling figure looks directly into Kyobi's eyes with an evil and devious smirk as more kanji fill the beast's vision. The symbols again turning green.